Hello there, World of Takers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Blitz, and in today's video, I will be reviewing the Bofors Tornvagn. This is the Tier 8 Swedish hull-down premium heavy tank, a vehicle that, after playing just one battle in, I can already tell you feels pretty dang overpowered. I'll be explaining why I think this tank is overpowered, and showing you the armor profile, the statistics, and just about everything you need to know. Now, when it comes to price tag, as I always say in every video, that's up to you. If you want to spend your money on crates, then I'm not going to be the one that told you to do so. Crates are expensive, and it cost me literally 45,000 gold to get my hands on the vehicle. And if you don't believe me, you can see in my notifications all the crates I had to purchase to get my hands on the vehicle after buying 54,000 gold. So it wasn't cheap for me to get my hands on. I'm not very happy that I had to spend about $100 worth of gold to get this vehicle, but I am quite excited to be playing this tank a lot. So let's break into the statistics, and then I'll talk about the ridiculously overpowered, really, armor profile it carries. So first things first, the gun. This carries a 120mm, meaning that it has 400 damage per shot. Now, I was really expecting this vehicle to have a terrible gun. For example, on World of Tanks PC, the main limiting factor of the Tornvagn is its quite abysmal DPM. However, in Blitz, its damage per minute is pretty average. It's 1863. And for example, the Skoda T56, which is another very strong heavy tank, sits at a DPM of 1732, so actually 100 less damage per minute. If you were to get out a vehicle like an Mil 1, which is a really solid, good autoloader, it's got about 2000 DPM. So the Bofors Tornvagn does not actually have that bad DPM, especially because I am running Cali. You can get up to 2000 with rammer, but I like pen. So the gun is not bad on that aspect. Its aiming time is pretty poor, same for the on-movement dispersion, but its base dispersion is 0.326, which is multiple times better than the IS series vehicles like the IS-5, the IS-6, the 112-2. It's not a Soviet gun. It is much better. I can tell you that after playing just one game. So with that aspect too, the Tornvagn's gun is not that bad. It's got 240 mils of standard pen, 280 on the premium, both of them carrying shell normalization. It's got good alpha, as I said, 10 degrees of gun depression, which is great. And this is the weird part. It's got a top speed of 37 and an effective power to weight of 16 on flat. And this vehicle is actually faster than the majority of heavy tanks on power to weight, even on medium terrain. It's kind of stupid. I just drove this vehicle on Black Goldville last game, and this thing is quite fast for what it is. It turns at 40 degrees a second, and its torque traverse is 23 degrees a second. Not the fastest, but it's not slow by any means for a heavy tank. And that is why I can already tell you that this vehicle just feels pretty dang overpowered. On PC, the main disadvantages of this tank are the mobility and the gun. It is one of the slowest heavies in Tier 8 on PC. However, in Blitz, it's really mobile. It's 37 with a really solid power to weight. Yeah, I don't know, man. You're going to see me play it in just a moment, and it feels a lot faster than it should be. Now, to showcase the armor profile, this is what the tank looks like with a Skoda T56 aiming at it. The Skoda T56 with standard has around 235 maybe pen, 230-ish with Cali. So not a ridiculous amount of pen, but it's still enough to put a hurt on a lot of Tier 8s, and yeah, the AP barely budges this vehicle even on flat ground. The heat pen on the Skoda T56 is quite nasty. It's 268 standard, which means if you're running Cali, it's around 290 millimeters. So let's take a look at the armor. First of all, you've got this mid plate here. It's 270 thick. So if you got high pen heat that the Skoda does have, yes, you can penetrate the vehicle. However, if you just angle it a little bit, you can actually make this mid plate over 300 mils thick, which you can see even the 290 mils of pen the Skoda T56 has is going to struggle to penetrate. As well, wait until you see this vehicle haul down. This is what it looks like with the 10 degrees of gun depression. Where are you supposed to pen it? Yeah, I mean, this is what it looks like with heat. That is the only weak spot on the entire turret, and it is 288 thick. That means if you're not running calibrated shells, you will not be able to penetrate this vehicle. If you are in the majority of heavies that doesn't get a lot of crazy premium pen like the Emil 1, even with Cali, you have no chance of penetrating the Bofors Tornvagn hull down. So, yeah, you can see why I am picturing this vehicle as a pretty overpowered tank. Its gun is not bad for the armor profile and mobility that it carries. Really, nothing is that bad on the vehicle. Its lower plate is weak at 120, but it's not awful. It's not, you know, gonna get you HE'd or anything. The side armor is actually pretty okay for side scraping, especially because of how steep it is, but you don't really want to poke too much with your sides, as they are quite bad. The rear of the vehicle, pretty awful, 31 thick. The rear of the turret's 80. So it's really just the front of the tank you're going to be using, but the fact that it turns so dang fast is going to make it actually quite strong in a lot of situations. So let's pull back out Blitz, and let's see how the vehicle performs. Let's get into some gameplay. Now, the bad news is, well, you can see there's only like 40 people in queue, as it's 4:20 in the morning, and I was about up 20 minutes ago buying these crates. So it might take me a couple minutes to load into a battle, which is a bit unfortunate, but yeah, I guess I'll catch up to you then. Alright, here we are in our first battle. Well, I gotta be honest, this isn't my first battle in the tank. The last battle I played in the vehicle was on Fort Despair. And I wanted to drive this tank to a hull-down spot on Fort. Unfortunately, my team did not agree. They all went flat heavy side. So not only was that bad, but it got even worse because my Panther decided to push me into the open and kill me, letting me deal 0 damage. If you want to see that clip, it's right here. And we're back. Yeah, I am very easily frustrated sometimes, and that got me very frustrated. Now, I can already tell you that this game's going to get me quite mad as well, because I'm in a tank that is really only meant to be used in a hull-down situation. I showed just a moment ago its armor profile, and the moment you really take this thing out of flat ground is the moment it starts to do poor. Now, we got a 49 on my side, so I'm just going to back on up to a... That bounced off. Interesting. I'd like to know where it bounced. Most specifically, could you please like give me a diagram, Wargaming, of where? But either way, now let's watch my HE miss. If this misses, I was about to say I'm going to be very, very salty human. But we're all good. My shell did end up penetrating the T-49. My T-62 gave me a little love tap. But we should be fine here. The 49's actually making some pretty poor pathing and allowed me to get another shell into him. You can actually see the gun on this tank is quite nice. I mean, it's not good, but it's fine for what it is. It gets the shells out. Was that the T-28 they made? I think it was. You have to keep your turret directly centered towards your opponents if you want to get bounces. Now, you will get bounces. If you stare at them like this, they're never going to pen you hull down. This T-28 can shoot at me all day. He's not going to pen me. And because this gun actually has decent accuracy, it will get the job done. Once again, I can just sit here hull down. This T-28 can look at me, but he's not going to do anything. We got like 2 more seconds before we get another shell. Oh my, that guy got obliterated. We got the STA-1 off to the side, who, once again, is going to be a pretty easy clear. By the way, take a look at this thing's mobility. It's not bad. Like, I was really expecting this tank to be slow. Like, really, really slow. But it's not. It's, like, quite mobile for everything considered. Now, this STA is not going to be able to pen me when I face hug. That is something that I would suggest to do in this vehicle a lot if you're fighting opponents, is face hug them, if you're on flat especially, because it will give you a much higher chance of getting bounces. But once again, look at the mobility on this thing. It's not slow. We're going 45 downhill, and it's got a pretty decent power to weight to keep up with its opponents. As I said earlier, I was really expecting this to be a super slow tank, but its traverse is fine, its top speed is fine. I have nothing bad to say about the mobility. I have nothing bad to say about the gun. What I will say is that if you expect this tank to do well on every terrain, you are sorely mistaken. While I did say earlier, I do believe that this is a pretty overpowered tank in some situations, I don't think that with the average player's playstyle, it's going to do all that amazing. If you're the kind of player that is the team that goes town on Middleburg, you're going to do awful in this vehicle. It's just common sense and it's natural selection. If you're driving a hull-down vehicle on flat ground, I know this is crazy, but you're probably not going to do all too well. The armor on this tank is terrible on the sides, as I showed on Armor Inspector, and the frontal armor is terrible on the lower plate. So the moment you showcase the sides or the lower plate of this tank, you're going to be absolutely ripped into shreds. It is only when you are on hilly terrain and you're showcasing just the front of your turret when you're going to do well. And I really think that's where a lot of players are going to struggle with this vehicle. They're going to use this tank on flat, and then they're going to get really mad that it doesn't do what they expect. So, if you want to do well in the Tornvagn, it is factual. You just need to use it hull down. If you use any other type of terrain, it's not even like a concept where you're going to get bounces. This thing has no side armor. It's 50 mils. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Now, once again, when it comes to mobility, as I said, this tank fast. I'm going to get baffled every time I drive it on its mobility. We're easily upwards of 37 already, our top speed, and we're going to be chilling at that top speed until we get into position. Now, on this map, I have a couple options of where I can drive. They have 3 tank destroyers, a T-25-2, a WZ-120, 1 GFT, and a T-28 prototype. What I'm going to be doing is I am going to start off by driving to this side of the map. I could make the wrong decision, and I might get farmed in the side or something like that, but for the most part, I should be completely fine. I'm not exactly sure what this T-43's big brain plan is here. We do have, as I said earlier, pretty good traverse speed, so we shouldn't have to worry. But that T-43 penning me in the lower plate was a pretty good example of the armor not being great on flat. Like, the moment you start using this vehicle on flat ground, the moment you showcase that lower plate, it is quite expected that it's not going to work any way you want it to. But if you stay hull down, like that T-28 prototype aimed at us with, you're not going to pen this vehicle ever. I mean, I can just sit in front of this T-28 prototype all day, and he's never going to pen me. And this is the example of where I keep saying this tank definitely feels a little overpowered to me. I mean, I can just chill here. It is impervious to that vehicle. Now, granted, the T-28 prototype is running the stock gun, but, I mean, it's a little stupid. Let's be completely real here. I just killed a full health tier 8 without a single doubt in my mind that it was going to pen me. So already, not too bad. We've done a decent chunk of damage, and we've been able to finish off an opponent. We got the T-25-2. I gotta be honest, that was just a bad shell for me. I could have aimed that a bit better and penned him, but it shouldn't matter all too much because the T-25-2 is still a one-shot for me, which means all I need to do is make my way over here, use my gun depression, and no more T-25-2. Well, the enemy has 3 vehicles left at this point, and that's it. I mean, it's just that easy to win in the Bofors Tornvagn. As I said, I personally believe that, at least in a skilled player's hands, this is a pretty dang overpowered vehicle. There's really no counter to it if you're running it in a hull-down position, which is going to make this really, really dang hard to fight. We got a nice HE into the rear of the Annihilator. Not an insane amount of damage, but it's enough. The T-49 does shoot a shell into the enemy Yo, and we're going to get a pretty nice slap ourselves into the enemy Annihilator. Now, I did put myself in a pretty awkward position here, but if we just back on up like this, now we are hull down, and it's going to be a lot harder for the enemy to cut through us. Let us see what we want to do. Well, the WZ-120, obviously, if he shows me his hull, or we have this little corner cut out of his hull, bonk, okay. Well, never mind. Actually, we could end up losing this. I just noticed base cap is a pretty serious problem, so if we want to win this, we need to actually get some clears here. It's not going to be impossible to get clears by any means, but they do need to happen. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to drive right over here and get lit on fire. Well then, that is very unfortunate. Not much to really say about that. Hopefully the 49, he does, finishes off the enemy Yo, and now all he needs to do is finish off the WZ-120. It's very easy for him to do so. Go! 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 Oh my god, he needs to go. He's got literally like 2 seconds to do this. 975, 980, and he bonks it! Yes! Okay, the 49 saved the game. I will give him credit. I made the mistake of... Well, I didn't really make the mistake. I got lit on fire, which was unfortunate. I got lit on fire before. It seems like this tank does have a very weak fire, or very weak engine, fuel tank. So that is something to keep in mind. And I got lit on fire twice this game. So bit of a downside there, but even then, we still did 3,500 damage. And if base cap really wasn't a problem, which it shouldn't have been, our T-49 should have captured one of the bases so that it wasn't a problem. That's the whole point of that mobility. But even if we eradicate the base capture problem, you never need to leave a hull down situation. This is a great take for literally chilling, just enjoying the battle, and coming out with a victory. I personally believe that the Bofors Tornvagn is an overpowered vehicle. There are circumstances where players aren't going to do all that amazing in it, and if you're the average player, you're probably not going to do all too well in it. But if you're a player like myself, or anybody that really understands the situational awareness and adaptive control it has, this is essentially a Concept 1B with a better armor profile at tier 8. So let me know in the comments down below what you think, but I think this is an incredibly powerful vehicle, and yeah, I do think in the majority of hull down situations it seems pretty dang overpowered to me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.